Bum, bum, bum. Oh, come on. Okay, hello. Finally, I'm back with another Ko-fi update. It's just been like I don't have much time currently for these videos because I have to record them at home. And basically, there were some holidays. Then my daughter got sick. Then I got sick. Well, actually, my girlfriend also got sick. That's just how it is when you have kids. And like 3 weeks passed by. So, but a lot of stuff has happened since then. So I thought I would just go through that. First of all, I did a new release on Cerebral. So it fixed a bug related to computed stuff. So you can compute off of computed stuff. So that's nice. I also released, I showed you the observable state stuff for Flutter. I actually released that package now. So if you want to try out Flutter and need some state management, you can try out this Flutter observable state. And just to quickly go through it, the concept here is that you explicitly create observables, like you don't have proxies and stuff in Dart, so it's like impossible to make it super smooth, but like it's typed, so it's easier to make sure that you use the API correctly. So anyways, you can create state values in some app state class, and then if we look at a widget, you see that you can use this observe function. It returns a widget and a callback where you insert what you actually want to render, and whatever you access, as you can see here, from the state within this callback will be tracked. So this will render again when the count changes in this case. And then I show off how you can organize your project using getit, which is like a really cool concept. It's a dependency injection, which I kind of wonder why hasn't this become popular in JavaScript? I'm not really sure, but it works really great in Flutter. Basically, you just register your state and actions at the top of the application, and then in all your widgets, you just, let's see here, you can just inject it, which means during testing, you can replace these things with mocked stuff if you want to do testing. And basically, you have APIs for changing the state. You can change the state based on the current state. You can attach a stream to some state so that when the stream pushes values, it updates this, the state. And you can also compute state. So as you can see here, creating, and it does the same kind of tracking. So that's really nice. And I'm using this for this family Scrum application I've been talking about, which is actually now in yesterday, I think. I pushed everything so it's ready for beta testing. I'm going to share this with you. I just want to make sure that the beta testing actually works. So, but after that, I'm going to open up for people to try it out. The beta testing is only on iOS because Google doesn't have a really good way to do beta testing. So if you just want to try it on your own, or if you have you live with someone and you want to try it out together, you can do that. But I'll get back to that. Anyways, that's Flutter observable state, and then we have I've been ranting about styling and CSS and all this stuff, and we finally got the time to. I got some help from Fabrice, who's been helping out with Overmind as well, and he's really good at this what's it called when you traverse the AST, I don't remember the name, syntax tree, abstract syntax tree. Yeah, so you kind of like traverse the code and then you replace. This is what you do in with Webpack and specifically Bubble, so that you can do crazy stuff. But now it's an actual package, so you can try it out. And the way it works is that you just install Bubble preset enhanced React style, and you just add it to your Bubble config. And when you do that, by the way, if you use TypeScript, you currently have to add augment React typing. We'll figure out a way to do this if the project is a success, like do it automatically. But yeah, the way it works is that you just add this preset. You don't have to install anything else, just the preset. And then in your React components, you can start using the style attribute. And it will automatically, in this case, it will extract the color here into a class. And the width will stay as an inline style because it's dynamic. And then if you want to use selectors, you can do that now in the style attribute. So by using this and key, you can add selectors, and then you have normal CSS or styling underneath there again. And you can use any kind of selector here, just like you do in normal CSS. And the point here is that it's such a low threshold. You just install the preset, and then you go. You use the style attribute for everything. And to do stuff like style components does, for example, if you want to create like a header component, you just create the header component, and then you do your styling inside the style attribute. And this gives you more flexibility, like you understand exactly what, if you pass properties to this one, you know exactly how you define explicitly how to use those props so they don't leak into the DOM, for example, and all that stuff. Yes. And again, here it will, in this case, everything static, so it will move that into a CSS class. And since it's using emotion under the hood there, server-side rendering just works. You just do render to string, and it works. Yes. So this is kind of thanks to Emotion, which is an awesome CSS and JS library. We're just lowering the threshold to use it to the extent you do not even know you are using it. So basically, it just feels like React has this ability with the style attribute. That's how it feels like, which is really cool. Anyways, yes, I wanted to show you something. So I'm working with this startup where we're using Flutter for a native app, and we're consuming articles in it. It's going to do a lot more than that, but it's like CMS kind of thing. So here we can see I created like a test article, and I'm using like a block concept. Like this is not finished at all, but I'm using a block concept. And what's important is that you have this ability to do rich text, like creating bold text, underline it, add links, change the size of it and stuff. But you don't want to store it as HTML because you can't display HTML in native applications. Like you would have to put it inside some web view or something. And I don't want to do that. So the way this works is that when you create like a text block, it uses something called Quill. It's from Salesforce. Maybe I should have opened it. Quill.js. Here it is. Oh my god, my computer is having a hard time running all the stuff. And yeah, it's basically a rich text editor. But the really cool thing about it is that it stores it in a special format, like a data format. And we can have a look at how that looks now. And here we look at the article we just looked at, and we have something called blocks. So we have blocks, and we have one block here, which is type of quill. And then we have the data. And the data holds what's called content, and this is the stuff that comes from quill. So adding some text here to test it, as you can see, it splits it up into different items in this array, which is really, really cool. So what I did on the, let's see, what I did on the, let's see, blah, 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 on the native side is that I consume this array and I convert it into lines. So that inside Flutter, it's possible to kind of like reproduce the article in native, which is really, really awesome. So you have this block concept in the CMS, but it looks like a plain article in native code. So really happy about how that worked out and looking forward to finishing that up. Cool. Also, Overmind is released now, which is really awesome. It was released earlier this week. I gotten great feedback on it. Happy that now people at least has no excuse related to production. Like it wasn't production ready previously, which might be why people didn't try it. But now people can try it. And I had a really fun time. Did like an event at like my current employer as a consultant. And we just went through stuff and we did a lot of coding together, which was really fun. Talked about state management and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. So we'll see how this release moves on. Maybe I can give some details on more like specific feedback and how many people tries it and stuff. Cool. One thing I wanted to mention. Yes, I did this tweet. Let's see. Oh, come on, computer. Anyways, while this is loading, I actually have my last month as a consultant now. I'm doing 40% consultancy. So I'm taking vacation time in July, but from August, I'm going to be 100% freelance. Yes, here it is. And that's really awesome. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be sad leaving my colleagues. But at the same time, I'm going to work a lot more on Code Sandbox. Get that refactor done to Overmind and TypeScript. And yeah, really looking forward to that. But anyways, let's see. Yes, Dan Abramov opened up for questions on React, and I asked him if they are planning to do an optimization, which I think is insanely important now that we have hooks. And external state management is becoming just more and more popular because it is a more straightforward and comfortable way to build applications, at least in my opinion. So the point here is that when, in this case, you have like a parent component, it has some internal state which can change. So this renders every time you click this header. But the thing is, it holds a child component that doesn't have any props. Currently, React will reconcile this child component whenever this parent component renders, which it absolutely does not have to do. And the thing is, with hooks, you have less components receiving props because you don't use higher order components anymore. You just integrate it directly with the component. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that external state management is becoming more and more popular, and especially like MobX and Overmind and stuff, where you just use the state where you need it. You don't have like container components passing state down and stuff. You just insert a hook exactly where you want to use the state. So that means that a lot of components will have no props. And And with this optimization, it will make React naturally just avoid reconciling when you change state high up in the component tree. And it just, yeah, and so there were some comments on this, and there was like one argument that if you do some crazy shit, like you have some global object somewhere, which the child component uses, and then you change that global object in some parent component, and then you use force update on that component to kind of like force a reconciliation through the app. I can see that point, but it's insanely an insanely bad pattern, because you have context for managing cross-component stuff, and it's very vulnerable to mistakes and not understanding why things don't update and stuff. So I really hope that the React team will implement this, because it will resolve a lot of confusion around optimizations and stuff. And then Abramov said, yeah, we're considering these types of optimization. So hopefully that will be in. Okay, a bit of a sidetrack there. I think this was actually all I wanted to talk about. As I said, I'm going to work more on Code Sandbox. I'm working on Code Sandbox today, actually. And also, I thought I would do like a live session, like do some refactoring Code Sandbox and just do it live. I think that might be fun. Also in Overmind, like implement maybe like a feature in the dev tools, do some live coding. So I just have to figure out how I do it, and then I'll book some time and do that. But anyways, I'm really glad to be back on track and looking forward to making more frequent videos. Bye bye!